I, Koshi Rikto, hereby pledge in the event that Excel Saga is animated that I have given the staff full authority over the use, misuse of its contents, etc., so on, and that regardless of how the finished product turns out, I will not take such actions as complain, protest, condemn, or file charges.
It's April of 1997. A monthly manga magazine whose chosen demographic is older teens and young adults began publishing a series by Koshi Rikudo. You'll be hearing his name a lot if you watch the series. A story of a man on a path to global domination named Il Palazzo and his criminal organization Across. But he's not the main character of the series. That role falls onto a girl who is so incompetent that she's probably the only thing preventing Il Palazzo from achieving his goal. Her name is Excel, and this is her story. That's why it's called Excel Saga. And the manga would go on to publish 178 chapters all the way until the summer of 2011. This series is an absurdist comedy to the nth degree, and it is one of the most wild rides I've ever had on an anime. Due in part to the fact that every episode is a different genre. Every single one. And because it's a comedy, the chief overarching style of the jokes is this kind of old world satire. The kind where it tries to take itself seriously, but it's just too damn incompetent to do so. And the most amazing thing is that, unlike many other gag series, Gintama, Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei, Shikanoko-san, the comedy in Excel Saga works in English. And as a anime series, it really plays into that title that it has on its namesake, Experimental. Animated by JC Staff, a very familiar name to any anime watcher, the show ran from October of 1999 to March 2000. Capping at 26 episodes, it is an experience to behold. The first episode opens with our main character nearly getting isekai'd, with the following events of episode 1 really setting the stage for the kind of series this is. In the first 5 minutes, Excel dies no fewer than 3 times. Il Palazzo puts on a front that could be mistaken for competent, but the more you see of him, the more likely you are to just think of him as an autist. The first mission he even gives Excel is to assassinate the author of the series they are currently in. And by now you would be familiar with the character the Great Will of the Macrocosm, a literal sentient piece of space that just keeps reviving people. Following Excel getting a part-time job at a construction site, we're introduced to another one of the main characters, Pedro, a metaphorical and sometimes literal punching bag for jokes. And of course, Excel ruins this place too, mostly by burning it down. Enter another joke punching bag, the dog Menshi. Excel constantly tries to eat it, closing out the first episode with another assassination attempt on Koshi Rikudo himself. Episode 2 is a space opera and opens with Excel apologizing about episode 1. Apparently, it was geared more towards readers of the manga, and a very brief introduction to Excel's neighbors, Iwata, Sumiyoshi, and Watanabe. So unless you can read Japanese, enjoy watching the English dub with subtitles on just so you know what Sumiyoshi is saying. Following that is a tenuous introduction to what could be very loosely considered the series' antagonists, aliens, as well as the additional recurring joke character, Nabushin. You can probably guess who he's supposed to be satire of, with a formal introduction to the last main character of this series, Hyatt, waiting until episode 3, which under its own description is an action B-movie. Excel died a lot in the first 5 minutes of the first episode, but Hyatt dies a lot throughout the entire series. The entire third episode is just an earlier version of Tropic Thunder, because that movie came out in 2008. And the series itself doesn't get any less unhinged. You could liken it to South Park with the way that it pokes fun at everyone and everything, even if it's not nearly as crass and as direct, but that generally comes from it being Japanese and not American. The jokes come from a different place, culturally. But what about the rest of the series? If every episode is different, how many different genres could they run through? Well, rom-com, crime drama, survival something, horror, shoujo and fan service, sports, animals, but mostly dogs. High school drama with lots of stereotypical delinquents. Detective mystery, but not really. A review episode / New Year's special because that's kind of an important thing in Japan. New character, ready your wood chippers. Death doesn't really mean anything in this show. Return to form of episode 1 like they gave up on the gag. But the robots now love Excel obsessively. We go to get some Yuri jokes, like a blind kid playing football. What the fuck is going on? Il Palazzo speaking Spanish and Excel is in America for some reason. Dai Tenzin, and there's still no plot, but something about a fanfic in Super Sentai because why not? Menchie gets the spotlight again and has a bad time. The episode called The Best of Mr. Pedro, but it's really just an excuse to put all the Pedro bits in one place and buy time for the illicit substances the show itself alleges the animators to be on to wear off so they can make a real episode. Il Palazzo will kill the Mook, trying to get the story back on track with more Poochu, and it's not Gundam. F-City is now Mad Max or something. Episode 24 doesn't have any gags in it, and this hurts Nabushin. The gags are back for the last episode, and you better believe there are penis jokes, because penises are funny. Also, the show lied, there are 26 episodes. And the final starts with a musical and everything the animators have been repressing since episode 1, including excessive blood, violence, nudity, fourth wall breaks, whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. There's even a commercial for Puni Puni Poemi baked right into the episode. Not like this episode makes any more sense than any other episode, but who cares? It's like an intellectual blitzkrieg assault on your eyeballs. With a metaphorical phallus of, oh god, why? Somebody kill it before it lays eggs! So what can I actually say about Excel Saga? It's rather edgy for current year, but by internet standards, especially the internet of the 2000s, it's pretty tame. In a way, it's like the Postal games, but from the Japanese cultural perspective. The jokes can be a little spotty at times, but that's mainly because of the design rather than the jokes themselves. Like how Sumiyoshi doesn't talk, or the constant jabs at Excel eating menchi. Her name itself is actually a joke on menchikatsu, a minced meat cutlet similar to a hamburger that's usually deep fried and made of pork. Usually. There's also references to Puni Puni Poemi, which doesn't make any sense unless you already know that it's a spin-off series of Excel Saga. But those kinds of inside jokes are just the norm for this series. The way episode 2 opens with an apology about episode 1, or like how Excel speaks at a mile a minute, often leaving you to sit and question what you just heard, cause she will say some random shit. When I first saw this series in 2004, I didn't think it was that much of a wild ride, but revisiting it in the 2020s is like rewatching a show you enjoyed as a kid and picking up on all of the not child-friendly humor snuck into the show. Like when parents will watch Phineas and Ferb with their kids and just start seeing things that look like penises. Excel Saga's biggest design benefit is also its major pitfall. It doesn't have a story. Except for Pedro. Pedro has a story. You can watch it as fragmented as you like. You can even watch it out of order since that doesn't hurt the series. But in a way, it doesn't really have an ability to hold your attention beyond jokes and pure absurdity. But that absurdity is exactly why people like it so much. I'd almost call it truly random because of how often I'm left asking, okay, but why? Only to never get an answer for it. Including the intentionally drawn out scenes meant to be awkward. If you've watched Konosuba, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's Excel Saga. I am the NBT. This has been the Noble Weeaboo. And I encourage you to give it a watch. Like, actually watch it. It's required for some of the jokes, because sight gags, and Sumiyoshi's entire character.